of touch footy.
Yeah, there is a lot of dew on the ground, isn't there? We started our coverage yesterday at about the 11 o'clock round, and by that time it had all burnt off and the fields were beautiful, but there is a significant amount of dew on all of the fields, and definitely this one here, Field 2. We're coming to you from Field 2 for our first 3 games, and then we'll do a 180 and we'll be on the main field for all the big finals that come up post that. You can see here the Bay of Plenty 40 women's team. Their semi-final up against the Waikato 40 women's team. Now, Rod, these two teams played each other yesterday. Bay of Plenty coming out victors by 3-2 against the Waikato team. Took to the Waikato manager this morning, and she doesn't think that'll be the same result. No surprises there.
Yeah, definitely not. These two provinces proud, long-standing history of playing one another, and they only got up by 1 Bay of Plenty yesterday, and at the end of the day, you have to get in the ring to be in the fight, and you can guarantee there's a chance at a finals berth here for both of these teams, 2 and 3 in the pool. So certainly looking forward to this one. There's any number of talented women out there today, so interesting battle.
Gone are the days gone by when you turned up to day 3 of the Masters Championship. There's a few teams that might have celebrated a night early and they are worse for the wear. I tell you, walking around the grounds this morning, everyone's super focused. Obviously, a lot of our major semi-finals are happening this morning in the first 3 rounds. So those teams are here, and it's definitely game face on. You can see the ladies here, the Waikato ladies. I think Captain Tyann Blair, see her walking out there. They mean business. And it's super exciting, just the atmosphere, the vibe, just walking across from the car park to where we are situated here, Rod. So it's going to be a humdinger of a day, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There's some steely grins out there as they were making their way towards the field, and a little bit of gamesmanship as they try to wrestle for sub box. So, interesting. The game started well before the whistle, so we can guarantee that this will be a good one. Some talent out there in Bay of Plenty. Just look towards Lolly Hillman. Really super skills, and you never know what she's going to come up with. Product of Tuhoit, and obviously Jetta Bartlett. She's been pretty much played every tournament, I think, lately. So, she's looking fit and lively and getting in there.
Yeah, and just before we start, the referees for this one, Hareroa, Doreen Heppian, and a specific shout-out to Alipate Tubu, who got upgraded to a Level 4 badge, the highest level that you can achieve, so congratulations to him. But we have kick-off here, Rod, in the first of our semi-finals, Game 1 of the live stream here on Day 3 of this Bunnings Warehouse National Tournament. Waikato straight into their work. Look like an overlap on that right-hand side, potentially that dew impacting that catch straight away.
Yep, nice start though from Waikato. They're getting down there, giving themselves an opportunity. Now they're a lot better for it. They know where they're at, but as you can see, the foot marks on the field. There definitely a lot of dew on the field, and they'll have to take good care of this ball.
Bay of Plenty just struggling to get to the halfway line here. 4th touch, and still short of the 10-metre defensive line. Got numbers down this side. Can they make use of it? 5th touch now. Still not at halfway. Rod, good set from Waikato defensively.
Oh, absolutely. And you can guarantee with Waikato, they've been in this situation so many times, making the 4. They've been here so many times that they're up for it. And they're certainly, showing it now. Let's see how they transition and get through the middle of the park here. And I like that tech, just getting forward first before going lateral. It's good play. Fewer hands, a little bit wet. Just take the ball forward.
I imagine, though, with this dew, while it'd be slippery on the ball, the footwork probably going to be a lot more direct in the first few games today, Rod, as opposed to the sideways movement.
Yeah, and I guess as we saw, there's a round before this when we went out to check it, and a lot of the players were slipping over. So just finding your footing is pretty hard, so it's important that they find themselves fairly early in this game, both teams. Just trying to draw the middle over, open up the 3-3 channel.
And there we see it again, that dew, what would normally be a skill executed with quite a lot of ease that time, just slipping out of the hand. Now, what can Bay of Plenty do here? Again, quite bunched. Not really making that much forward momentum. Substitution players having to come on in a backwards direction. seem now to found themselves a little bit more rhythm. Excellent yard there. Straight into the grind phase, isn't it, Rod? the Spay of Plenty team anyway.
Yeah, both teams just trying to find themselves a little bit. This dew is definitely having an effect on the game. As we see Waikato there, bringing it forward, very direct. And I like that approach of just getting around, doing the best at this stage in terms of the orange, and it's seen them down this end of the park quite often, which is where you need to be if you want to get a touchdown.
Have you had the opportunity over the last 2 days to watch many of the games in the 40 women's grade?
Unfortunately, not Maya. Obviously, we've kind of been calling a bit, so I haven't had the chance to get out and talk as much as I usually do to people just to see how their tournament is going. Obviously, everyone's enjoying himself. It's very competitive. As we see Waikato here, that fly defence, they're working hard.
Yeah, very much so. Brought this point up yesterday around using the energy in the right phases of the game, and Waikato, unlike many of the teams that we watch, really choosing to use that energy defensively, and we can see the payoffs for that. Getting the ball, starting their sets on the halfway line, and sometimes even in the attacking half. Huge advantage so far to Waikato. They're definitely controlling this one.
Yep, great tactic by Waikato. So we see that drop there, going to go 2 out, looking long.
It's actually a really nice pass in the conditions. I think the winger may have thought that probably needed to come in a little bit, considering the dew, and maybe the pass couldn't have got there, but got it out there quite easy. Look, we can't continue the coverage without saying up the wires, can we, Rod?
Wonderful game last night, and congratulations to them.
Fantastic victory. The video ref helped them get a couple of tries too, did Manly? It would have been a bigger score otherwise. What do Bay of Plenty need to do here, Rod? So they are yet to get across the 10-metre attacking line. This set seems to be one of their better ones so far. What is it they need to do to, again, we see it finishing right on the 10-metre line. What do they need to do to be able to get through that attacking end?
Yeah, I think their focus in terms of their transition, their focus is in trying to shift the ball lateral first, as opposed to getting forward first, right? So the quicker you can get forward, the more you put the defence on their heels, and then you can start to build momentum off that. But as soon as you try and move lateral, it makes it a lot easier for Waikato to pick you up. So hopefully there's a little bit of a change up there, and they can start moving forward.
What about not subbing? So in this part right here,
under set, yeah, absolutely. It's there's the opportunity there. Obviously, it depends on legs. It's been a long tournament for these ladies, so it kind of depends on your legs. But yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you just got to suck it up and run 2 or 3 sets out of it. As we see here, that's what I was talking about. More like very compressed on this side of the field.
I think while they haven't been able to really get past their attacking 10-metre line, they haven't let Waikato score a touchdown. And so defensively, they've been really good. And that's key. Just keep grinding through that orange phase, and once you find your rhythm, you'll have some opportunities down that end. But ultimately, keep the score sheet clean.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when Bay of Plenty eventually do get down that end. They're not getting many shots at it, so the ones that you do get need to be winners. As we see Hillman making a touch there, nice strong touch. Waikato just trying to draw over, play on the edge. It's quickly heading short side. Can they? Oh, nice lift there by the wing.
If you're the Waikato team, Rod, are you feeling like really upbeat because you're dominating them on defence, or are you a little bit concerned that you've had all this attacking? You've had all the ball and you've been in great field position, and that you're not scoring, and in fact really not even look like scoring. Would you be concerned?
Not really. If you're down the right end of the park, it's always a good thing, right? And if you can grind it out, eventually something will show. So I think it's important that teams understand that you don't have to score for every set. What you do have to do is you have to put yourself in a position to be able to score. And that's the key here, I think, for Waikato. They're just grinding away. And, defending, when you're running backwards all the time, nobody likes it. It's hard, it's tiring. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on the back, the back quarter of this half.
Waikato once again with another great opportunity. Down the attacking end. Blair now. What can she do? She decides to go right. Again, another opportunity, but I wouldn't say it's been that threatening. If Bay of Plenty can score a try out of the blue, I reckon that'll be an absolute game changer in terms of being completely shut down in their defensive half. Waikato with all the field position.
Yeah, Waikato on the line, they are trying to shift Bay of Plenty around. Bay of Plenty not really biting, to be honest. They're happy to stay man. Not really threatened at this stage. A little bit lucky, I thought, there to get away with that one. Bay of Plenty thought it was a side plant.
What I have seen from the Bay of Plenty team, they look like they've got a couple of players there who they only need a millimetre of space, but they've got that speed where they can really get through. So if they can get a strong dump on the fifth touch, I wouldn't be surprised one of their speedsters can get through. And then again, like I said, out of the blue, after being camped down this defensive end, they could end up going one up on the scoreboard. Waikato, though, this will be their 8th set on the line. The number of touches up their sleeve.
Fake sweep, gone long. Yeah, not quite sure that this is the conditions to be throwing long. Maybe quickies with follows is something a little bit tighter, a little bit shorter pass. Maybe the go, but they certainly need to. They might get a chance here. They certainly need to engage Bay of Plenty in a little bit more. Maybe just attacking a little bit more directly to start with.
Maybe instead of throwing long, hitting the link, face dump, and then hit the wing after that.
Yeah.
See what they can do
Wing
here.
Play, she'll go early low.
Yeah, it looked like they had numbers. To their credit, Bay of Plenty doing a great job defensively.
When you're defending this much, they might eventually. Cracks will start to appear. Oh, nice strong touch. She just staying man, not panicking Bay of Plenty. They've certainly got their defense sorted out. Can she make it back in time?
You don't need to be a lip-reading expert to know what was muttered just then from the Bay of Plenty defender, Tania Yonke. Referee just calling Yonke offside, not getting back to the scoreline prior to making the touch. Pretty good call there from referee Hippie. First touchdown, and I think that one was more important for Waikato really than a letdown it was for Bay of Plenty. Now, if nothing more, they actually get an opportunity to get to the attacking end.
They're in the half now, so now's an opportunity that they have. Let's see what they can make of it. They haven't been down there too often.
Oh. Thought it might have been a late pass, but it wasn't. Now attacking the short side. Well done from the winger.
Important here for Bay of Plenty, just to lock them in here, not let them out. Let's see how active their defense is. They're going to lift. Just a single line lift on that one there, so not as much pressure as Waikato's been applying. And as we can see, touch 3 and they're in the 10 zone. Nice transition there from Waikato. Got the roll on now. Important that Bay of Plenty get a kill touch here. Try and take the speed away. Nice. I guess Waikato will count that as a completed set. They got through, got down the other end. Bay of Plenty just still a little bit clunky through the field at the moment.
Yeah, just not decisive, are they? Not sure who it is. It's just that comms on first, keeping their depth.
It's probably the first time, I guess, the latch has come around and gone direct. And as a result, now they're over the halfway. So probably only the second time in the game. You've got to pick early, go early, and see what they can get to. Hands through, not quite.
Waikato well in control of this one. There's only 1-0 to Waikato up against this Bay of Plenty 40 women's team, but they've really only been under threat once. They've had all the pill. Like you say, it's got to take some gas out of the tank, doesn't it?
Yep, finals berth at stake here for both teams. Nice. Biddle. Down hard, gone long. Oh, inside.
I don't think it was meant for her, but she plucks it out of the air. Mihi Wātara, Hohepa. If it was a well-disguised short ball. We see it here. I'm thinking that was potentially going to the winger. But Mihi Wātara picks it out of the air. Scores a second touchdown for Waikato and her first for the game.
2 minutes to go, and all that possession is starting to have an effect for Waikato. But well played, well set up, and keeping the pressure on at the end of the day. Pressure is what you want.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Coming into this one, Bay of Plenty winning 3-1. I just wonder if these conditions have had a greater impact on the style of game that Bay of Plenty play versus Waikato. We see Waikato, as you've talked about, being very direct. The field condition sort of that's what you actually need. Bay of Plenty have seemed to play a lot more laterally, and again, these dewy conditions are not conducive to that type of style. Not
at all. But both teams are playing, and it might. So you have to adjust. So it will be interesting to see what the how the coaching staff change things up at half time, 1.5 on the clock.
Now, we got to see Canterbury 40 Women's yesterday, and they won that game up against North Harbour. They're the top-ranked team in this grade. Thinking back to them yesterday and seeing these two teams here, do you really think either of these two teams could have a shot against Canterbury? A genuine chance of beating them?
There's always a chance. Canterbury playing very direct and very quick, so you do have to ensure if they have a go, they do have to ensure that the errors disappear out of the game, like as we're seeing now. There's quite a few, but you'd have to say that Canterbury probably still on top of the game at the moment in this grade.
While there is a number of errors, you really can't underestimate the impact the dew on the ground is having, both to the handling of the ball and definitely to the foot placement for these players. Even just squaring up at the ruck is made quite difficult.
Nice cover, but Bay of Plenty find themselves back on their 7. Long way to go to get up the park. Waikato still hungry in defence. And I guess, to be honest, of all the games that I've seen, defensively, this has probably been the hungriest defence that we've seen so far.
Oh, no.
On the hooter. She's away.
Oh, it's still going. The girls did not want to stop. We've seen pretty direct attack, and in the last 30 seconds, she's all over the show. We're going to go into a halftime break, 2-0. Waikato up against Bay of Plenty. We'll be right back with a summary of that first half just after this break.
For Bunnings Homegrown Heroes, the mahi never stops. Nominate the unsung heroes in your touch community that go above and beyond. They could win $5,000 to invest into the sport we love. Nominate today.
Kia ora touch whānau, welcome to Quick Hit, your short, sharp and touch-relevant warm-up, with the aim of warming up and moving those important body parts before kicking into activity. The Quick Hit warm-up requires minimal space, minimal time, and allows for innovation.
For Bunnings Homegrown Heroes, the mahi never stops. Nominate the unsung heroes in your touch community that go above and beyond. They could win $5,000 to invest into the sport we love. Nominate today.
Welcome back to the halftime break of the first game of our live stream on day 3 of the 2025 Bunnings Warehouse Masters National Championships. We have our first game here, which is Waikato up against Bay of Plenty in the 40 women's grade, the semi-final, first semi-final in this grade. These two teams have played each other yesterday. Bay of Plenty being victorious in that one 3-2, but Waikato have definitely shown that they are not to be messed with in this one. Rod, we talked about it earlier with regards to the style of plays that both of these teams have. In these conditions, the dew is having a massive impact on this one. On top of the ground, seem to be definitely suiting Waikato more than it is Bay of Plenty.
Yeah, absolutely. Bay of Plenty is a team that they like to shift the ball. And, these aren't the conditions to obviously to do it. It comes back to the same old thing. You need to earn the right to throw it around. And at the end of the day, Waikato's doing the best thing by just making sure that they keep themselves camped down the right end of the park and actually giving themselves an opportunity to do it. So it'll be interesting to see just how the coaching staff of Bay of Plenty just change things up. And I think you're right. There may be an opportunity here now if they do get caught like this again, just to the players to stay on and just direct up the field. And it's important that they get forward.
How hard will that change be to make? If your natural way of playing is throwing the ball around, a lot of lateral movement, etc., how hard is it to then change that mindset of we need to just be straight up the middle of the field, nice and direct?
Yeah, I think it's more a case of where the lungs are at. I think by that stage when you're defending a lot, you're kind of hurting, and then to be asked to head straight back up the field again and then possibly have to defend after that set as well. It's a big ask, but as we see Bay of Plenty, they're in the right spot here. Unfortunately, couldn't quite pull that one off, but they're down the right end of the park. It's important that they put some defensive pressure on Waikato here. Waikato don't have to shift the ball across the field this time, so maybe it might make it a little bit easier. Here's the next wave.
You looked at that Bay of Plenty set, and all the support players, they're all flat. They're in line with the dummy half, whereas a big difference here with Waikato, and yes, they are doing a rucking set, so it sort of lends itself towards that. But the depth they have, they're running onto the ball, therefore the pass doesn't need to be as accurate as when you've got a support player standing flat. So I guess just those little things that they can help themselves out with, Bay of Plenty. Let's watch them here to see if they can keep that depth as they run onto the ball. A lot of quickie dumps, isn't there, as opposed to just giving it back to the planter rather than someone new running onto it.
Yeah, it's obviously their patterns, what they've come up with, has suited them well for this tournament to date. Maybe due for a bit of a change, but at least they're in the right end of the park at the moment. So what can they do? As we see some legs here, Hail Mary didn't come off.
Gemma Pearson, she's there, has been the Energizer Bunny in this team, both defensively and on attack. We talked about what type of legs people have in terms of their energy levels on day 3. But I tell you what, she'd be running as fast today as she was at the start. Again, just looking at Waikato, not really that.
Yeah, that's a little bit better from Bay of Plenty there. They're getting active and moving forward a little bit more now. I think, Waikato's they've definitely got an alternate defensive pattern through the field, which has been helping them. But this is better now from Bay of Plenty lifting.
It's obviously been a deliberate change that they've made at halftime, Rod. I asked the question, how easy is it to change? Well, that's one of the changes that's obviously been made, and well done to the Bay of Plenty coaching team and the players being able to make that adjustment.
Yeah, it's important that they keep Waikato away from the 7. And so far, they've managed to do it. This here is, I think, where they've been a little bit remiss, Bay of Plenty, on that third touch, which usually, the latch hit. They've got a little bit of momentum now. There we go. Can they make the most of this one here? Going to go. Ooh, couldn't quite push it out. And that's what you're looking for. If you move forward and move forward with speed, the chances that you'll get repeats are a lot better. And that's what, now they're in a better position. They're on the line now, and they've got the right player on the ball. You see Hillman.
It really was the first time they put the Waikato defence under pressure. And the first time they do it, they get a penalty for offside. So, yeah, again, going back to what you talked about, Rod, it's been a lot more direct rather than lateral.
Not quite there. Dummy short side. Can he get through the hands? Not quite. But they're putting themselves at the right end of the park. A lot more of a lift here now from Bay of Plenty.
Not sure what's happening there. It seems like it was an offside penalty. Bay of Plenty players. Not sure who it was going to as well.
No, it's refereeing dark arts, Mike. Dark arts. But much better here from Bay of Plenty. Creating a little bit more pressure defensively. Nice drop. Where can they go now? Mistouch. Can they finish it? Oh, not quite.
She did not like that. Chantal Biddle. One of those ones, it was a dead set try on that, right? You're just in such a hurry to put it down. Again, that due. She did so well, too, in setting up that set for the Waikato team. Coming on from the sub-box, taking 2 really strong touches.
Yeah, this is much better here from Bay of Plenty in terms of coming through the field. Important that they just get forward.
I think she's the one who's going to be able to break the line, the number 6 for Bay of Plenty, Nicole Mika. She's got the gas in it earlier in that first half. Nearly got through. Waikato just managed to catch her. If she can get a strong dump off forward momentum, then I think she's going to be pretty hard to close down. We always start a little bit early on the final stage, Rod, so not many of the teams that have played in these types of conditions.
Not at all. It's been a nice, gentle start each morning now, Mike. So, yeah, it certainly is a little bit difficult. Nice touch there, nice and strong. Can Waikato find their way through the hole then? Not quite. Things have certainly got a lot tighter in this second half, Mike.
We're talking about the conditions, but it's literally only the dew. The temperature's perfect. It's nice and overcast. It's warm for 8:50 in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning. So every other condition is fantastic. It's just the dew on the grass which ultimately gets onto the ball. I'm sure once we get to probably our 4th game this morning, she would have either warmed up or been run off. Both teams now. Waikato with that 2 touchdown advantage. They're in a great spot. They can just grind this half out and get a nil or half, they win. But plenty of the ones that have to make the play.
Nice dump there. Good pressure from Bay of Plenty. But at some point, Bay of Plenty really does have to ask themselves, when do they have to throw all the apples in and just go full bore?
A lot better. Absolutely their best first 2 touches. Got away with that one, which was great. And now just need to keep going forward. Don't go sideways. Yeah, excellent work here. We see by Annette Armand. 18 for Bay of Plenty. 2 to go. Right person for the dump on this one. All 6 again. That's what they needed, Rod. Are you calling it? Are they getting a touchdown off this set?
With the people they got on, there's definitely every chance. I think Hellman's probably the creator there. If she can get the outsides just working off her so she can, have their options to throw a ball to. It'll be interesting times. And at Armand going short. Yeah, I think Armand just letting their team know there. That was early in the count. No need to panic.
Bay of Plenty have had 2 direct sets, and on the end of it, they got a penalty for offside, and they've got a repeat set of 6. The proof's in the pudding in terms of what they need to be doing for the remainder of this game. The time's flying by. I remember looking up in the first half, there was 2 minutes to go, and it felt like we'd just been having a back and forward battle for a few minutes. Again, 6 minutes remaining. Waikato box seat. Controlled the first half, been a much more even battle the second one.
Yep, there's certainly a lot more emphasis now for Bay of Plenty defensively. Urgency is there. Let's see how they get on for hit 3, which is the one coming up. How they control that, whether they just get forward and build some momentum off it.
The referees are giving them huge 7 metres, which is fantastic for this game, but just going laterally means they're not taking advantage of that roll on. Now unfortunately, missed out on that opportunity too. Referee's done a great job of ensuring there's that 7 metre space between both lots of teams.
Yeah, and it's certainly what teams like. They like that space and gives them a lot more room to express themselves. Defenders obviously have a lot more distance to cover. I think this is a lot more direct by Waikato. A little bit more speed in the play here.
The game's far from over with 4.5 minutes to go, Rod, but if Waikato do win this, there's been 2 things they've done. This exact thing here, lifting up 2 people on defence, really shutting down any momentum that Bayapuni are trying to create, and then with the ball just being very direct. And they've probably had about 20 attacking opportunities on the 7 metre line, and they scored 2. So as an accuracy percentage, not super high, but that's all they need to do is have 1 more touchdown than the other team. So you give yourself more opportunities. Doesn't matter what your accuracy percentage is.
Yep, as much as it's about the touchdowns that you get, it's the ones that you stop on the other end, and if you don't let the opposition get down there, it certainly makes life a lot easier for you. You see Waikato just sweeping on now, getting the attackers into the right place. Looking to play 3-3, keep tight. Again, short side, is she going to throw that? Can we finish it off? Not quite.
Watch this defence again. Nearly the whole team lifting up. Oh, great lift there from the winger from Waikato. Attacking player almost catching the ball and the defender at the same time. A little bit of push and shove.
Yeah, I think that's where Bayapuni have kind of fallen a little bit, is in that pattern of releasing to that outside player. At times there's no need to release that because the Waikato wingers actually stepping up and taking it away. So just holding it and settling it in, just a little bit of eyes up ball would help.
Nice and direct again from the Waikato team. Constantly running onto the ball with depth. See Biddle on now. She really adds that intensity into the attack.
Sweep around. Giving. Yeah, well worked.
Excellent work there from Waikato for their 3rd touchdown, the first of this half. Wendy Tane. And you can see why our referee, Ali Pate, got his upgrade. You could hear him in the background right at about this point saying, play through, 16-year offside. The attacker listening to that. And it's that fantastic proactive comms from Ali Pate, allowing the non-offending team all the advantage they deserve. She gets across for Waikato's 3rd. Should never do the early crow, but I just can't see this result being anything other than a Waikato victory. And I tell you what, they've deserved it. Fantastic first half for this Waikato team. And just grounded out the second half.
Yeah, they certainly worked hard, and that's the key. You get into these games, into this state of the tournament, it's who wants it more. Waikato stepped up.
Touch and pass, I think. Yep. That's really the only thing it could have been. I was having a bit of a guess, but touch and pass there. Well done, Waikato. There's 3 sets left in this game. And 2 of them are likely to be for Waikato. So, that being the case, unfortunate for Bayapuni. It's great to see the Waikato team coming away from that round-robin loss. 3-2. Really close result yesterday. They've obviously gone away, watched video and come back with a real specific game plan that has worked for them, particularly in these conditions. Just a bit of using the clock there, Rod.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and assuming that Waikato take this one out, which they should. If they apply that same pressure against Canterbury, assuming Canterbury make it through, and they should, and just how much damage they could do to that Canterbury defense attack, which is pretty potent. It makes for an interesting final.
30 seconds to go in this one. The best thing about finals day, Rod, is drop-off day. We don't see enough of them. I'm hoping for 8 straight drop-offs in the upcoming 8 finals. The first of those finals comes up next. It's our 60 men's final. Now, I'm sure if one games can have a drop-off in it, that one will. I know those men would hate to do any extra time above 30 minutes. But we all got our fingers crossed that we might see our first drop-off. Hooter brings us to a close for the first of our live stream games here on day 3 of this Masters National Championship. Excellent result from Waikato. They go through to play the final. Not sure at this stage who that will be against. But plenty in a playoff game now for 3rd and 4th. Fantastic start to a great day. Don't go too far. Right after this break, we'll be back to preview the 60 men's final.